Hey everyone, welcome back to ML Works. In this video, we'll understand the core concept behind logistic regression with a simple example. Consider we have a problem statement where we are trying to predict whether a student will pass an exam or not. So we are provided with a data set where we have features like hours studied, and then we have a target variable which is result, and it contains value pass or fail. Now, given the number of hours studied, we have to predict whether a student will pass, which is 1, otherwise fail, which is 0. A beginner's question is, why can't we use a linear regression model instead of logistic regression? Now, if you train a linear regression on this data set, you will get a linear function as shown here. Let's assume it is y is equal to 0.2x minus 0.1. And when you plot this, you get some plot as shown here. Now when you put an x value of 5 hours, you get y is equal to 0.9, which is the probability score, and it says basically that there is 90% chance that this specific student who has studied for 5 hours will have a 90% chance of passing. Now let's put x as 10. Now we get y is equal to 1.9, which is not possible because probability cannot be 1.9. The probability score ranges between 0 and 1. Now if you have very small value of x, you will get negative probabilities as well. So consider you have x is equal to 0. So you will have y is equal to minus 0.1. So you cannot have negative probability as well. Now this is where logistic regression comes into picture. Now instead of predicting a raw number, logistic regression predicts a probability score. So consider you have these different probabilities where 0.95 means that the student is likely going to pass, and if it is 0.10, the student is likely going to fail, and if it is 0.60, he is probably going to pass. Now how do we force the prediction to stay between 0 and 1? Because we saw earlier that y is equal to 1.9, which is the raw value. So how can we turn that into a probability score ranging between 0 and 1? Now that's where sigmoid function comes into picture. So sigmoid function takes any number and squeezes it into a value ranging between 0 and 1, whose formula is epsilon of x is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power minus x. So we are not very interested in this formula. Let's understand what happens when you have an input to this formula. So consider we have these different inputs, and if you send any of these input to the sigmoid function, you will be getting the value ranging between 0 and 1. And this is how the plot will look like. So irrespective of what the x value is, whether it is too positive or too negative, it doesn't matter. The result that we'll get is it will be in the range of 0 and 1. So even for the positive value of 8, we'll be getting value closer to 1. If it is negative 8 also, it will be getting value closer to 0.00 something. This is the beauty of sigmoid function. How does logistic regression reaches the probability score? Now let's understand that. So consider we are training a logistic regression model. Here first it will learn the linear function, which is z is equal to b0 plus b1x. Once you train the model, these parameters gets updated, which is minus 4 and plus 1. So plus 1 is our coefficient and minus 4 is our intercept. Now consider you want to predict for a student who studied for 6 hours. Now you take the 6 hours and put it here and get a value of c as 2. Now you will be sending that 2 to sigmoid function and you will be getting a score of 0.88. So this 0.88 means that the model predicts an 88% chance of passing if the student has studied for 6 hours. Now how to reach the final prediction, which is the pass or fail? So we know that logistic regression outputs probability score, but what we need is a class. So that's where decision threshold comes into picture. So we take the probability score and we say if probability score is greater than or equal to 0.5, then we turn the class as pass. If the probability score is less than 0.5, then we turn the class as fail. So what did this logistic regression model actually learn? So when we train a logistic regression, it is basically searching for two things. One is the best coefficient and then the best intercept. So based on these two values, it will learn how to separate the classes. How do we arrive at the best coefficient and best intercept value? Now this is where the loss function comes into picture. So by minimizing the prediction error, which is done with the help of log loss or cross entropy loss, we are able to generate the best coefficient or best intercept value. So now let's understand the log loss, what it is and how it works. So let's continue with our data on students study hour versus result. And we know that we want to predict between pass or fail, which is 1 or 0. And we also know that logistic regression outputs a probability score. Consider we have 3 data points where you have student who have studied for 2 hours, 5 hours and 8 hours. And you have sent these inputs to the logistic regression model and you got this probability score 0.23, 0.7 and 0.85. Now, how good are these probability scores such that we can reach a specific class? Now that's where log loss comes into picture. Suppose we are predicting if the student has passed or not, and you have a true label which is y is equal to 1 and your model predicts a probability score of 0.99. Now this is a great confidence in class 1. So the model is correct and it is confident when it is predicting with the score of 0.99. So basically the model gets a very small penalty and we get a log loss of 0.01. Now let's see if we have true label y is equal to 1 and model predicts with the probability of 0.60. Though the model is correct, but it is not as confident as the previous case. So we have a penalty much larger than the previous case and we have a log loss of 0.51. So now let's look into another case where we have a true label of y is equal to 1 and model predicts with a probability score of 0.01. Now here the model is incorrect, but it is very confident in the incorrect prediction. So basically we have to punish the model heavily and we are getting a log loss of 4.61. Here the model is correct and confident. Here the model is correct but it is quite uncertain. Here the model is incorrect but it is confident in predicting the wrong prediction. So it is completely wrong. So the key idea behind log loss is the log loss rewards when you have correct prediction made with confidence, and it punishes heavily when the wrong prediction is made confidently. So this is the formula for log loss, which is minus of y log p plus 1 minus y into log of 1 minus p. Now suppose a student has passed and his true label is y is equal to 1. Now when you put this value into this formula, you will be getting minus log of p, because this basically turns out to be 0, this specific section. You can see that from this formula that it only cares about probability assigned to the correct class. So if we have a probability score of 0.99, we have a log value of 0.01, which is excellent. Like in terms of thinking of prediction, right, for this specific class, this is pretty good log loss and we get a result as excellent. For 0.90, we get a log loss of 0.1 and the result is still good. When we have a probability score of 0.5, we get a log loss of 0.69. The result is mediocre because we are not confident enough in our result. And when we have a probability score of 0.01, we see that log loss is 4.61 and the result is terrible because we are predicting with 99% certainty about this incorrect prediction. So now let's look into this table here. We have this probability score and corresponding loss values. Now as probability approaches 0, which is this one, the loss explodes. So we can see how the loss jumps from 2.3 to 4.6, and if we continue to decrease the probability, it will explode. So why this is useful for our use cases. So consider we have a medical model which predicts there is only 1% chance this patient has cancer. But the true label is the patient actually has cancer. Now this mistake is worse than saying there is 40% chance, because let's assume, right? So if you are a doctor and you are depending on the model for the diagnosis. So if the model says there is 40% chance, then you will be aware that this model is not certain about its result and you will do further test. But as a doctor, if you see the model is saying there is only 1% chance this patient has cancer, then as a doctor, you might think that this model is quite confident in its result and we might not consider doing any other further test. So we might end up making a bigger mistake. So log loss recognizes this difference between these two scenarios. So why does logistic regression uses log loss? So we know that logistic regression predicts probabilities and we need a log loss function such that we can evaluate these probabilities. So log laws directly work with probabilities. It rewards the confidence when it is correct, it punishes the confidence when it is incorrect, and it also has the mathematical properties for optimization. So which is basically used for gradient descent to efficiently learn the best coefficient. Now let's understand the advantages and limitations of logistic regression. So when it comes to advantages, since the model is quite simple, it is easy to understand. We just have to understand the probabilities, how it works. And then it is computationally efficient because we are not performing any heavy mathematical operations. This is also easy to explain to the stakeholders. So some of the limitations include that logistic regression assumes that there is a linear relationship between the features and the log odds, which means that in simple terms, we can say that this model works best for simple decision boundaries, but it fails if the data is complex. So with this, we are at the end of the video. I hope you understood exactly how logistic regression turns the linear function value into probability score, and you also understood how the log loss works in terms of logistic regression. So with this, I'll be concluding this video. Thank you for watching.